Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you very much for honoring the invitation. I find myself trembling with excitement. We are definitely honored as Vaal University of Technology to be hosting this kind of an event, gigantic in nature. This is not just but an ordinary event, but it is a national event. Before we can proceed, may I humbly ask you colleagues to be seated in one row so that you can be captured accordingly with cameras and we invited few people, so we need you to be on one side. That is very, very important. And second most important thing, your Wi-Fi. That is our Wi-Fi there. Thank you. Thank you. No, it's okay. I'm okay. I'm fine. I'll do that. No. Can we please be settled? We have humbly requested the VC and the university management to be here so that they can just bless the event and go to other commitments. So, colleagues, my name is Thabo Khole. I am the member of the task team that organized this event, and then I'm glad to be here. We are trusted with responsibility as the university to host this magnificent event on behalf of all the universities in South Africa. Can we please give ourselves a round of applause? This cannot be left to chance. This is not ordinary, it's extraordinary. That at the corner of South Africa, we are recognized over and beyond. That we are given an opportunity to host this magnificent event. And also not just to host a magnificent event, to make sure that we are speaking about intellectual property. We are taking out the language from boardrooms, we are taking it to different play fields. We are taking it to different courses, running courses, swimming pools. We are simply saying that we are ready and we are set to innovate within the sports. Intellectual property, under normal circumstances, it is a language that is spoken and discussed within boardrooms when business transactions are exchanged, when people are making sure that they protect their innovation within the boardrooms. But today we are making it something completely different. We are simply saying, think about the game of football. The slow motions that you experience every day when you're watching the soccer. Think about the sound of a drum that beats from the stadium and echoes. Think about the songs that are sang in the stadiums. Think about the motions and clapping of hands in different kinds of sporting activities. Think about different kinds of logos. Think about different kinds of slogans. Think about different kinds of designer of jerseys you see in the sport fields. That is intellectual property. Think about the different angles and transmissions you see each and every time when different kinds of sports are transmitted so that we can be able to see them. That is intellectual property. We are not only celebrating intellectual property that's emanate from sports, but we are also celebrating men and women who make sure that we see it all in action. When you are home sitting alone, you can feel the vibe because there is somebody out there who's transmitting that sound, who's transmitting that transmission so that you can be able to see it. And that is intellectual property. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, welcome, and thank you very much again for choosing VUT. I guess you know that we are the best and you have not regretted. Just give yourself a round of applause. Without any further ado, I'm just going to ask Mr. Zek just to come and tell us about safety and where we can be able to get the bathrooms so that we can be able to get the program ready and moving. Thank you very much, Mr. Zek.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zachariah Mtaung, the Safety, Health and Environmental Officer here at VUT. Should we have any emergency during the process, we are going to activate the alarm. Everyone will collect their belongings, switch off any electrical equipment and other machinery. Then we proceed to the nearest exit points, which are 2 doors at the back of this venue. We will move quickly without running to the nearest assembly point. At the assembly point, the designated personnel will take control of the assembly point. The roll call register will be taken, and we will all wait for the clear communication from the occupational health and safety. Then we can return to the venue. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, while we are still on it, thank you very much, sir. While we are still on it, we've got delegates from Department of Science and Innovation. They are here for a meeting. We are also fortunate. I think we are recognized. People finally recognize the diamond at the corner of Gauteng South. They can see that we are shining and we are shining properly. We are going to be hosting National Science Month. So the Minister Tax team is here to have a meeting and arrangements. So if you see colleagues coming in to see what we are doing right now, don't be surprised. Right now, I'm the most powerful man in this room because of I am man behind the mic. But because of I love my job so much, I want to give father of this institution an opportunity to welcome everyone and also to bless this occasion so that we can be able to proceed accordingly. Let's welcome Professor Stephen Kehla Ndlovu on the podium. Thank you.
Program Director, Mr. Khole, distinguished representatives. Oh, I'm not sure that's standing correctly. It should be like this, I think. Representatives from government, industry, and academia, leadership of our partner institutions, esteemed guests, members of the media, colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen, A very good morning to all of you. I must admit that it's an honor for us to host this event, and thanks to the Commissioner, Advocate Vaal, for entrusting us with this responsibility. It is an important one for us, but also I do want to acknowledge Mr. Tabang Yase from NIPMO, Ms. Ntombi Maseko from Trade and Industry, also Mr. Seseng from TIA, Technology Innovation Agency, not just for being here today, but also for the support that they continue to provide our university in our efforts to play a major role in human resource development in the country. So it is both an honor and a privilege to welcome you to Vaal University of Technology for the 2026 World Intellectual Property Day media launch. Today we gather not merely to mark the date on the calendar, but to ignite a conversation that sits at the very heart of progress, the protection, the recognition, and the advancement of human creativity. The World Intellectual Property Day, commemorated globally on the 26th of April, reminds us that behind every innovation, every invention, and every creative expression, there is a mind that dare to imagine differently. This platform exists to deepen awareness, promote respect for intellectual property, and position institutions such as ours as catalysts for innovation and socio-economic development. Yet beyond policy and frameworks, intellectual property is at its core about people. It is about the young innovator in a township workshop, the student refining an idea in a laboratory, and the entrepreneur transforming knowledge into opportunity. So this year's focus, reflected in today's program, draws a compelling connection between intellectual property and sport. At first glance, sport is considered a movement, a competition, and of course, a spectacle. However, beneath that surface lies a powerful ecosystem of innovation, from performance analytics to wearable technology, from equipment design to broadcasting rights. Sports is driven by a whole lot of intellectual capital. Intellectual property is what ensures that this capital is protected, commercialized, and scaled. So today's engagement on this subject is therefore not incidental. It is a deliberate and strategic. As the Vaal University of Technology, we do not see ourselves merely as participants in this conversation. We see ourselves as contributors to it. Our mandate is clear: to produce graduates who do not only consume knowledge, but who create it. We are committed to building systems that do not only teach theory, but that translate ideas into tangible impact. Through our Technology Transfer Office, our TTO, our research programs, and our partnerships with institutions such as the Companies Intellectual Property Commission, the National Intellectual Property Management Office, NIPMO, and the Technology Innovation Agency, we are actively shaping an innovation ecosystem that is both inclusive and, of course, forward-looking. What is particularly powerful about today is the collaboration it represents. Government, academia, and industry are present in one room. Too often, these sectors operate in isolation, yet innovation does not thrive in silos. It thrives at the intersection. The presence of the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, CIPC, NIPMO, TIA, and CEDA here today is a clear signal that South Africa understands this reality, and more importantly, that we are beginning to act on it with intention. We must also be deliberate about who this conversation reaches. The future of intellectual property in this country will not be determined in the boardrooms alone. It will be shaped in classrooms, in informal economies, and in communities where creativity exists, but protection and opportunity remain limited. Our responsibility as institutions of higher learning is to bridge that gap and to ensure that innovation becomes accessible, protected, and economically meaningful. This event takes place at a defining moment in the life of our university. As we journey towards our 60th anniversary, we are reflecting not only on where we come from, but on what we must become. We are called to be a university that is relevant, a university that is responsive, and a university that is rooted in innovation, entrepreneurship, and of course, societal impact. So intellectual property sits at the center of that transformation, serving as both an enabler and a safeguard of the ideas that will shape our future. Let today not be ceremonial. Let it be catalytic. Let it provoke new partnerships, new ideas, and of course, new commitments. Let it challenge us to ask difficult but necessary questions. How do we ensure that innovation in South Africa is protected? How do we ensure that creators benefit from their creations? How do we move from knowledge generation to meaningful economic participation? So allow me to extend our sincere appreciation to all our partners for their continued collaboration and commitment. Your presence here affirms that this is a shared mission, one that requires collective efforts and sustained engagements. In closing, intellectual property is not merely a legal construct. It is a bridge between imagination and impact, between creativity and commerce, and between potential and progress. Let us build that bridge together with purpose and conviction. I thank you. Ngiyabonga, ngiyalibuka.
Thank you very much, Prof. Those who just arrived, please find our password and also our Wi-Fi. Intellectual property, it is not just a legal concept. Intellectual property, it is not just a concept that is discussed in boardroom, it is in our daily lives. We live it in everything that we are saying. The slogans are Makosi, very beautiful team in the country. Makosi, up the backs. Siwelele Samasela, Those are beautiful slogans within sporting teams that we come across. Do you know what makes the jerseys, sports jerseys that we wear, very expensive? Do you know that? It is because of the brand name attached to the sports jersey. If I take a sporting jersey, just that top, I remove the name Adidas on it, and I put Molefe, do you think sports fans will be able to buy that? Do you think so? No, they will not be able to buy that. The value of that jersey is not about who made it. It is about the name that is attached to it. The Nike were very brilliant. Famous gentleman by the name of Mike Jordan, they've realized that here is a brand, the name within the sporting code. If we align with this name, we can be able to sell products. And they did that. People are no longer buying Nike because of his Nike. They are buying it because of his Michael Jordan. Our sons and daughters want that. That is intellectual property within the sporting code. Show me your number. You know, show me your number. It's a slogan within the sporting code when you are playing soccer. Within the playing, within different kinds of teams in South Africa, we have different kinds of names that we give, nicknames we give to our professional players. Amongst others, it will be Mbazo. That is a trademark. And do you know who Mbazo is? So one of our famous players. I've got a surprise for you. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I am not here to speak about different kinds of intellectual properties that you can be able to come across. I get so excited because of this is my field of expertise. When you are sitting alone at the corner of your house, somebody is there at the corner with a camera, moving up and down, making sure that you've got all the angles. That is intellectual property protected by copyright. I think I'll call the management for this workshop for free, don't worry. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Advocate Rory Vaal to come and speak about different kinds of IP and what CIPC is offering. A round of applause, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director. It really is a pleasure for me and the CIPC to partner and to be with you all this morning. You know, World IP Day is one of those events at the CIPC, and we have a multitude of events at the CIPC. You know, CIPC has got a large mandate. We're not only responsible for IP. A big part of our work is in the world of entrepreneurship and company registration and maintenance and the like and enforcement. But the one event where I'm always very excited to speak about is when we deal with World IP Day. Because when it comes to the issue about what our core mandate is at the CIPC and what we would like to do as additional value adds and value propositions to the community in South Africa, to show them and to speak and to give them the power of IP. All right? You know, IP for many is an abstract concept. So when you bring it home and you make it real and you show them what the power of IP does to transform communities, what the power of IP does to transform economies, what IP does to move human advancement, is something that really is empowering to us to speak about at the CIPC and to advance it. The one thing that I appreciate about my team at the CIPC who deals with the issue of education and IP is that we take the concept of IP to the length and breadth of South Africa. To be quite honest with you, and I'm going to speak about this truthfully, I have never been to Sebokeng in my entire 53 years of existence, all right? Never, I had no idea where it was. GPS and the power of IP, right? The power of innovation brought me here. But the point I'm trying to make is that the power of IP transforms the length and breadth of this country. So it has a real pleasure for me to be in Sebokeng. Many times we've spoken about it, we take it to the abstract parts of the province of Mpumalanga, and I've spoken a few years there. We've taken it to to the Eastern Cape, we don't only use the power of IP in larger centers where it is concentrated like the Johannesburgs and the Durbans and the Cape Towns of this world, but the power of IP lies in many communities. Look, at the CIPC 2 weeks ago, we had the pleasure, and it's our second one, we had the pleasure of hosting an annual Youth IP Awards. And this Youth IP Awards is to recognize, to equip, to commercialize, and to grow young inventors. When we started out in our very first year, we had just about 300 applicants who applied for recognition at the awards. The last one we had 2 weeks ago, we had over 700. Right? Those are 700 young people that have invented something. Those are 700 young people from every single province, because we had an application for every single province, all the way back in the Northern Cape, for example. You know, the Northern Cape is our little step department, step province, if you would like. Doesn't mean no disrespect from those who are from the Northern Cape. But the fact is that we've got young inventors coming from these smaller provinces, not only the larger centers. So we're very, very happy that we've taken the power of IP, the spirit of IP, to the length and breadth of this country. The one thing that I'm also glad about is that when the World Intellectual Property picks a theme for World IP Day, they don't only look at the major concepts of patterns and how do we deal with space and the Artemis and going into to look at the moon. They pick themes that are relevant for everyday people. It was last year, and the guy is a grand pianist. He plays the piano exceptionally well. I think he can play the piano in halls. This is the DJ, right? And this year's IP in sports. So you can see the themes speak to communities, right? Not abstract themes where people don't know what the power of IP is, but this is themes that come back to everyday communities and what everybody uses everyday life. Now let's look at IP in sports, right? Because I had thought about it and I'm like, there's many aspects, from the issue of the trademarks being used, and we see all the fancy players like Barcelona and Inter Milan and Liverpool and Man United going out with a multitude of advertisements and logos, trademarks of all those companies, right? There's a power of IP. From the design of the shirts, right? Those designs are made in a certain way, alleviating sweat from people, making sure they don't stick to you. I know even the power of footwear, make them run faster and jump faster. Those are all innovations, right? That's IP. Those are the things. And now we're talking about IP in sports. We talk about Hawkeye, and the thing that a lot of us who watch soccer, and I'm a lover of soccer, I'm sure many of you in this room, is a VAR, right? Some of us hate that thing. But it's the power of innovation when we jump and we think that our team has won, and suddenly they say, wait, hang on. His toe was just over because the VAR said he was offside. Right? Those are the power of innovation, right? We never had all of these things all the years ago. So it shows that IP touches every aspect of our lives. I also wish that, you know, when people speak about the World Cup in South Africa in 2010, what is one thing that they talk about a lot? Something called the vuvuzela, right? It was a South African thing, right? I wish I had I wouldn't be standing here, I'd be a multi-millionaire now. The power of the vuvuzela, right? That showed the spirit of South Africa. And it showed that, and somebody went and actually went about that, and to show us the power of the unifying aspect of sport. And the next thing about sport is that in South Africa, South African sport, I think we have some of the greatest patriotic and crazy supporters in the world, which is a marvelous thing. You know, when the World Cup happens, which is happening now, and we got Bafana playing the first game, you all know that, right? Bafana playing Mexico for the very first game for the World Cup. I'm so happy that we qualified. I'm sure we all are. We're all going to be looking at the power of sport, right? And South Africa is going to come to an absolute standstill on it one day of things, because it's a unifying nature. So IP does not only show the power that we have in our human imagination, but it also unifies communities and grows communities accordingly. When the Bokke plays, we all know that across the spectrum, we all glued to that TV, shouting for Rassi, all right? And all those teams that are playing on that. That's the power. But the power is also in the performance. So IP, if you look at performance, right, and the way that the training methods and high-performance culture methods and learning from the best, those were definitely intellectual property innovations that went onto those fields. You can clearly see it, right? The way that they train in the way, I remember the days when I played football all those years ago, we did a couple of stretches, run up and down, and well, we all did exactly the same thing. If you see the nature of high performing now in terms of sport, and what has been dedicated to that, you certainly can see the power of innovation in those sports fields. People get faster, people jump higher, people endure more, what they wear, all of that. It's the power of innovation. And the power of innovation speaks directly to the power of the usage of the intellectual property system. Now, let me just give you some statistics to show you that in South Africa we're healthy. We need to grow it more amongst many communities, but we're healthy. And I'll tell you why we're healthy, is because we at the CIPC, we register on any given year, right? We register between 10 and 12,000 patents. Sizable to our population size, that's a healthy number. And the good part about that number, because we track this and we report to Parliament on this, is that local patents are on the increase. It's a great thing. More local South Africans are using the power of the patenting system. It shows that localization is growing. Trademarks. This is one statistic I love, because trademarks, for the first time in history, this year, we will register 50,000 trademarks. The greatest ever in the history of this country. 50,000 trademarks will be registered in South Africa and grows every single year. Shows the power that South Africans are using in terms of that. Designs, we're looking at about 2,000, 2,500. And therefore, we spoke about copyright, the most controversial area of, I never knew that until I joined CIPC. I never ever knew that copyright is the most controversial area in the world of IP. Gee whiz, we got a copyright bill that's been sitting on the president's desk and has been to constitutional court, I don't know how many times, Kadi. He knows, there's my manager of copyright sitting right there. We went to Parliament for years to get a copyright bill passed and all of that. And then everybody moaned about this thing, including our friends called Donald Trump and team, right? Because we wanted to use something called fair use. Open up the power of the transforming nature by everybody. If you're going to use a transforming and developmental state, why should we look at certain literatures within copyright and use them for the power that we want to do? Sorry, I don't mean to lecture now. I'm sounding like a politician. So just to show you that IP touches every aspect of our life, it must be realized that. So it's good to partner with academic institutions such as yourself, because there's an ecosystem in IP. Many of innovations and thoughts of innovation and technology transfer, all right, and TISC, Technology Innovation Centers, they sit within the power of academia, right? They sit within the power of universities and what they can provide in order for those inventions to go through search, examination, using different aspects of innovation in what they want to achieve. So therefore, when you look at the ecosystem, it's one that not only deals with the last part, which is the registration part. And I always say that CIPC must not only be a part of registration, we must play a vital part in how do we grow the system of IP in a country. That's what the value proposition, right? And therefore, we want to see that, and the partnership that we have with academia growing, and our partners at NIPMO, and our partners at the Technology Innovation Agency, and the partner of CSIR, and the partner with our mother department, Trade, Industry, and Competition, because we must never lose sight of the fact that one of the main parts, and I speak about a lot, one of the main parts about IP is called commercialization. If you can't commercialize what you've done, all you've got is got an academic paper and you've got an academic invention. And what's the point of that? You must be able to use human ingenuity forward, and you must be able to commercialize. All right? That's what I feel is the power. That's why we have that's why you have the right? You have a monopoly right. And therefore, you must use that power effectively and grow it. So we are very, very proud for all of these things. We're very, very proud to partner. My team develop a lot of notes. They know that I just go off on my own tangent when I speak about these things. I don't even think I touched the notes as yet, because I have a passion for these things, right? And I speak about these passions a lot. But in South Africa, the community power, the youth power, all of those understanding. Remember, the one thing that, and I spoke about this the other day, I had a meeting with my boss. My boss is a guy by the name of Parks Tau. He's a minister of 2 days ago. I had a meeting with him. And I started, amongst other things, I started talking about why do we not do enough to show the power of IP to transform economies and grow economies? And he says to me, hey, Rory, man, you say the same thing all the time. I hear you saying this all the time. Where is my business case, and where is it that you're going to put before me so that I can sell this idea also of yours? All right? Because I know, I've seen it. Belong to something called a BRICS group. You must have heard about the BRICS countries. These are colleagues of mine that I go to 2 meetings a year, and we speak about the explosion of the world of IP and innovation in China. Young people. You know, in China, they've got a very strange thing, right, in IP. Do you know that cities, myself and Kari and stuff, we've been to this thing. Do you know that cities compete amongst each other for who can develop more IP? Because they get incentives and they get grants. In China, for example, your patent is used to leverage against debt. So if you go to the bank and you want to borrow money, the bank will ask you, do you have a patent? And you say, yes, I've got a patent in mining or engineering or technology or whatever the case may be. They use that as an asset to loan you money. Those are transforming nature of IP, right? We don't use that. You go to the bank and tell them, hey, I've got a patent. Somebody will say, where's the house? Right? They won't think of your patent that you got that has got so much value, right? They say, where's the car, where's the house, all of those type of things. So those are things we need to learn. That's why I talk about the transforming nature of the economics of intellectual property. All my colleagues along the world, you know, us in BRICS, Brazil and stuff like that, which also has a very large, you know that the informal economy in Brazil is larger than the formal economy. Much larger, all right? There's more informal businesses in Brazil than there are formalized businesses, right? 250 million people, if not more. And therefore, we must understand how do they leverage IP, because they also got a large IP dedicated economy in Brazil. And these are the type of things we need to bring on board and build this business case for the use of IP. But I digress once again. Bring it back to the power of sport, bring it back to the power of communities, bring it back to the power between partnerships and IP and using the ecosystem effectively for all people and making sure that we transform and grow this economy. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Advocate. You know, the manner in which Advocate is speaking with passion, and he's touching very important thing to say, sports unite communities. Sports unites families. But what is very important here is that when we are sitting watching that cricket, there is technology, innovation that makes it possible. It is because of somebody innovated that. It is because of somebody owns that. What makes you to be the owner of that particular intellectual property? Why are you saying it's yours? What do we mean when we say you've got the monopoly to use? You've got the right to exclude others from using because of you are the owner. Who gave you those rights to be the owner? Why can't we use your slogan without permission? That is the power of intellectual property. One of the innovators in China, as you were speaking here, I was thinking about him, to say the innovator decided to say, because of this e-gaming thing, does not include the visually impaired, I'm going to come up with an innovation that will be able to do that. He won one of the prizes, youth development prizes from WIPO. He came up with a very powerful patent to say, as we are playing e-sports, I'm going to make sure that this also includes those who are visually impaired. Very wonderful intellectual property. This shows that intellectual property also break societal barriers. It is not only something that we can use to say, I have the monopoly. You can also use it to leverage and make money out of it. My mentor, my principal, Tumelo Mashabela once said, we are protecting for the purpose of commercialization. What is your business case if you come to us and say, I want to protect this IP? Are you going to be able to make money? Because of if you own it, be it in any sector. Why do you own it? It is not like I've published a paper on 1, 2, 3, 4 in academia. You own so that you can be able to commercialize. Commercialization is simply saying that you own so that you can be able to make money out of it. So if you don't own, you don't make money, why do you own? Let me not go there. It is not my place. I was just passing. It is the language that is supposed to be spoken by one of the commanders-in-chief, Ntate Thabang Jase. And Dr. Tabanjasi is the Director of Advisory and Support. Is our boss. So the TTO office report to this gentleman. We are happy that he's here. We are not terrified. We are on top of these things. Yeah. So welcome, Mr. Chase. Thank you.
Good morning, Tumelang Sanbona. How are you doing? How are you doing? Okay, good. My name is already mentioned. I'm Taban Jase from the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation at a unit called National Intellectual Property Management Office. I was waiting for you, DVC, to come back. Yeah. So now I start my speech. So when we come for the launch of World IP Day, we always demand at least 1 hour to talk. So we were told only 10 minutes, and I said, how am I going to talk in 10 minutes? But I will try. So Program Director, our Vice Chancellor and your team, and their colleagues and ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed, we are very happy to be here. So it is indeed a great honor to stand in front of you on the launch of World IP Day 2026 celebrations. This is a day that serves as a reminder of the critical role IP plays in shaping our world and celebrating creativity by, in this case, athletes, creators, innovators, and entrepreneurs all over the world. So this is a very powerful World IP Day theme. So in 2000, like the commissioner was saying and the program director, the World Intellectual Property Organization member states designated the 26th of April every year as World IP Day, whose objective is to celebrate human creativity, to acknowledge the socio-economic importance of intellectual property, the protection thereof, and to create awareness about IP rights and encourage creativity and innovation by citizens. The Vice Chancellor and the Commissioner were here to tell you about this. I'm just repeating what they said. So the month marks the 26th celebration of IP Day worldwide. And as a member state of WIPO, South Africa, definitely led by the CIPC, will join the world to celebrate World IP Day under the theme, which you see there on the stage, which is IP and sport. That is why Mbazo is here. Ready, set, and innovate. Through this theme, the Department of Science, Technology, and Innovation, the National Intellectual Property Management Office, and all these organizations that are here and those that are not here, will continue to guide and manage the process by which publicly funded research leads to creativity and innovation that get protected and ultimately commercialized for socio-economic benefits of the Republic. Everything that we're doing, good people, we're not playing. At the end of the day, it must have an impact in society. It must be commercialized. The commissioner said, what's the purpose of having a piece of paper called a patent, if that patent is not going to be commercialized? What's the use of having innovation, if that innovation is not going to assist the community of Sebokeng, South Africa as a whole, to be able to do what? To be able to find solutions, for their challenges that they encounter in their communities. So the Intellectual Property Rights from Publicly Financed Research and Development Act, a long name, the IPR Act, and the establishment of the Office of Technology Transfer. The program director is a member of that team, and other colleagues that are here. At all the institutions, your universities and science councils, it provides a framework for effective management of intellectual property rights arising from publicly financed R&D. So in these words, we're saying every institution, everybody that gets funding from National Treasury for R&D purposes, they have to report on what happens to the results of those research outcomes. So they have to report to us to say, this is what we've done with the money from our taxpayers, and therefore, we are using it effectively. But however, establishing these offices, in this case, VUT office, is just the beginning of the journey. And the head of NIPMO says, I quote her in this case, to truly unlock the transformative power of technology transfer that the commissioner was talking about, we must ensure that these offices, now I'm talking to you, the DVC, these offices are adequately equipped and empowered to fulfill their mandate, so that the researchers here at VUT and the students and everybody else, the community out there, when they come to the OTT is able to do what? To assist them, to take their ideas and to play around with them until these ideas go to the market as finished products, and those products must be sold. This includes providing sufficient resources, fostering partnerships with industry stakeholders. The commissioner said academia is good in coming up with products, developing anything that you can think of, because technology is available. But we need industry to be able to commercialize. In order to cultivate a culture of innovation within academic and research institutions. So through this theme again, colleagues, we are able to see and celebrate how creativity and innovation backed by IP rights keep the world of sports thriving, dynamic and accessible for everyone and everywhere. So through World IP Day, athletes, creators, innovators, and entrepreneurs worldwide, they show how IP rights keep the world of sports thriving. From football to tennis to rugby to ice skating, in every sporting field, inventors and creators are working behind the scenes, to push the boundaries of athletic performance, improve audience experience, and bring sports events to every home. And then with us today are some of the legends in soccer, the former Bafana captain, Aaron Baso. Mukwena. I don't want to talk a lot about Pirates, but one of the boys who's currently the captain of AMA 2000, Releboe Mufukeng. He comes from this area as well. And there are many others that I can quote, but you'll accuse me of being biased towards Pirates. Anyway, I'm a Pirates supporter and a Liverpool supporter. We were beaten last night. Okay. IP rights and the legal protection they give are the basis for key business transactions that secure the economic value of sports and push the industry forward. Thanks to steady industry growth, sporting organizations can finance high-profile sports events and promote sports development worldwide. The sports industry also contributes to the world economy, creating jobs and developing public infrastructure. So when you talk about IP in the sport business, one immediately thinks of what the commissioner was saying and the vice chancellor. Patents, we think of trademarks, brands and designs. I don't want to talk more on that, and copyright. And by celebrating, in closing, World IP Day, we raised the profile of IP, the associated IP rights, and how and when applied as a tool for development. Such IP and IP rights have the ability to enhance the everyday quality of lives of citizens globally. So a big thank you to Vaal University of Technology, Commander, and the team. Thank you very much, through the Office of Tech Transfer, for being a great host today. We have never had the launch of World IP Day where there are over 40 people. Mujarafa is there as my colleague, and Kadi, they will tell you we have never. Sepo. So, thank you. So when we were doing the submission in the office, my colleague Lungela said, we have 100 people that are coming, including members of media, I said to her, no way, it can happen. But I'm very happy for the audience that is here. So, it's definitely an exciting and beautiful place to kickstart the celebrations, especially because of the number of sporting legends and current performers who come from this area. As I've already indicated, our captain is here, former Bafana captain. Imagine if he wasn't there, we wouldn't be going to the World Cup, in 2026. So, a round of applause to our sporting heroes as well. A big thank you to all our partners and stakeholders, the CIPC, the DTIC, Technology Innovation Agency, the CETFA, Chaya Mashabela, and our sporting heroes and heroines. We made it. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be part of this celebration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I was a bit worried to say our wall is too big, and then we are only 3. But now I'm glad that we are the first. Actually, because of the arrangement, we wanted to bring 200. Because of the arrangement, they said we don't need a lot of people, only principals are allowed. We are just going to say 60 people. So we've got multiple events today in this center. That is why you see colleagues coming in and leaving. So I find this subject very fascinating to say we've got different kinds of sporting, but I want to talk about soccer. In the 80s there, what I've realized is that we had soccer boots. But these soccer boots were just there to ensure that the players can wear them. Very heavy, very ugly. As long as you're wearing, it was okay. Yeah. My leader there knows. But now they are taking things in cognizance that for you as a player to run faster, you need a light soccer boot. That is an innovation. Somebody invented that you are simply saying that our captain, my captain in Basel, they cannot run. But it's not because of he cannot run, because of these things are heavy. So somebody decided to say, I am going to bring a new set of soccer boots. Then they became lighter. Then we can see that players are able to run accordingly. But now it is no longer about them being lighter. Somebody said, no, I'm going to compete with you how they look. You are not only going to buy these soccer boots because of their light. They must be beautiful and attractive. And that is another IP there. Then they started to design, and people will buy them on the basis of what? Of how they appeal to their eyes. That is the design law right there. That is another IP. But now they said, but no, we've got another problem here. It is not about running, but I can tell that as we are kicking the soccer ball, it only lands here instead of there. What might be the problem? Then somebody said, it is not light as well, it is heavy. And then they invented another soccer ball that is lighter than the ones that we see. There is this soccer ball that I used to kick, this called kickoff. Yeah, that thing when you kick it with your bare foot, you will cry. But nowadays I can tell that in the market you go there, you will not find the same thing. That is innovation in sport. So these are the things that we hardly talk about, and somebody owns them. You go there, Puma, Adidas, Nike, they are competing in the same field. These are different kinds of brands. They own the trademarks. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, Ms. Nontobi Maseko, the Director, Innovation and Technology Policy Strategy. Let's welcome her. Thank you very much.
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning. So, as already introduced, my name is Nontombi Maseko. I'm the Director of Innovation and Technology Policy and Strategy at the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. And I wanted to bring a light spirit to the room because we are launching a celebration of the World IP Day. I want to confess to you and say I wanted to come in my cycling kit this morning. And my principal there, Mr. Koza, said, no, please be representable so that you don't bring the department to disrepute. So I'm sad that I couldn't, rock up in my cycling kit this morning. That's the first one. Second one is, I hear we are talking about intellectual property in sport, and everyone is talking about soccer, guys. There's quite a lot. In my day, I'm a cyclist, I'm a swimmer, I'm a runner, I'm a triathlete. I used to play tennis at school. I used to play volleyball. So there's quite a lot. And it just goes to show how, advancement in the sport or in this field has grown in leaps and bounds, and why then we need to support. Which then I'll go back to the role of trade, industry, and competition, where you look at our department and think, okay, we're driving development of industry. That's our main mandate. We also want to make sure that even in trade, we are able to compete as a country, right? Now, if you look in the history of countries that have are developed, you'll see that innovation and technology is at the center of that. And it's not only in commodities that are of economic benefit, even in sporting codes, in tourism, in all these other sectors. So it is very important for us to be able to drive that mandate from knowledge development or from knowledge acquisition, where you protect it, where you transform it into economic activities, whether it's a product, whether it's a process, whether it's a system, such that then you can create new industries, you can support existing industries, or you can drive entrepreneurial activities. That's what we do in a nutshell. And now, let's put a role of what then intellectual property does in that space. If you are not a developer, intellectual property will help you own the knowledge, right? Will make you earn from what you have come up with, which is either your invention, whether it's your research and development. And now we are lobbying, we're saying all knowledge forms are inclusive. One, it could be grassroots innovation. Two, it could be garage innovation. Three is research and development, and four is invention in its entirety. And one of the things that we are advocating for as the department is that we even start bringing new sporting codes into the fore. I mean, the room or the fact that there is a number of sporting activities that do exist doesn't mean there is no room to bring in new sporting codes. I see there's an excitement about bringing the old, whether in gaming, we see a lot of innovators going into bomorabaraba, diket, or things like that we used to play in the past, that we call them indigenous games. But there is an opportunity to then bring in and innovate in new games. Now, also what you need to realize, or what we are excited about as a department, is that, as you innovate in sport, right, and bring new innovations, you are not only enabling, advancement in the sport, but you are also advancing inclusivity and transformation. You will see this in a number of innovations that are bringing physically challenged humans into the sport. A lot of speakers that came in front of me talked about how you kick the ball, how the ball becomes light, how the shoes have improved, how Garmin will track even your slipping patterns, how Timing Peak will give you you know, a view of what you have done over, you know, a month and say, and tell you how to improve if you need to improve. But think about, you know, technologies and innovation in wheelchairs that enable basketball players in the, you know, those sporting, those individuals that have amputated legs and things like that. Innovation and technology has enabled them to be able to run, to swim, to do all these things. So in excitement and just making sure that as a department, we support this space. One of the things that we're driving is making sure that intellectual property becomes a commodity. I think it's safe to say in the next 2 to 3 years, as it was alluded earlier, that you are going to be able to take your patent and go to the bank and say, this is my asset, because we would have developed ways of evaluating and valuating that intellectual property in terms of what is it that it's going to do. Now, in closing, one of the things that I'm excited about, and it's been talked about here, is about how universities need to be entrepreneurial, how universities need to respond to this need. And I think that's why when we do these kinds of activities and celebrate, we use universities as the center, because they are knowledge generators, one, but also in their entrepreneurial state, they need to be able to respond to what the economy needs, and they need to be the leaders in the new technologies that come afore, and also they need to produce what I would love to call postgraduates, because we're no longer in this field where, you know, every graduate that comes out of an institution of higher learning needs to want to be absorbed in some form of a job, but they need to then be able to create those jobs. Now, this is my message of support is that please let's encourage everyone in the sphere that we're at. The department is behind you in everything that we do. We support in terms of incentives, in terms of export promotion. So we'd like to implore everyone to be able to partner with us in driving this economy through intellectual property. Thank you.
I just want to be very honest with you, Ms. Maseko. I never imagined you on top of the bicycle. But now I'm super impressed. I'm super impressed. Yeah. No, we are very excited. Are we ready? And are we set? And are we innovating? Yes, when you're talking about intellectual property in cycling, now, one thing that came to my mind, that ugly helmet that they use is very unique. That is one thing that we can start talking about. I know somebody who owns that IP. And also the bicycles, they are not ordinary. I mean, under normal circumstances, where did you see the bicycle sold for 200,000? It means there's a lot of uniqueness in those bicycles. The frame, the lightness of the frame, the mechanism of those bicycles, the name. I'm talking about a few things that we can be able to find in this IP. I mean, in this sector. Colleagues, we are moving and we are coming close to the end of our first program. And with that being said, let me also invite Mr. Teboho Seseng to give message of support. Mr. Teboho is managing stakeholder relations at TIA, and he's going to be speaking about the pockets there. TIA, when we talk about TIA, we are talking about pockets. So welcome, Mr. Seseng. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director. I saw the program and I asked myself, why am I last? And they only gave me 5 minutes, Advocate Rory. And I know I'm gonna do exactly the way my colleague Tavan Jasi did. He scheduled for about 1 hour, but he spoke only for 30 minutes. Right. Gentlemen and ladies, thank you so much for inviting us and for the partnership really to be elevating the World IP Day. Thank you, Prof. Ndlovu, for allowing us into your home. And we really are very honored. I commented in the morning when I got here, I said, hey, by the way, VUT changed their branding. I think it's the only university that has done that post-apartheid. Okay, maybe UL and Medunsa, yeah, but it's only one really. And I think you need to be commended. It gives a fresh perspective of the university. We all know the history of how the university has actually evolved over the years and the struggles and this and that. It's quite a thoughtful gesture, and I hope you are reaping the benefits of it. I did not prepare a speech, only because all of you, I know you want one thing and one thing only: money. Money for innovation. Right, let me just quickly talk about our services and who we are at the Technology Innovation Agency. For those who don't know, the TIA, we are an agency of the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation under the stewardship of the Minister Platin Zimande and Dr. Kina, who is Deputy Minister. The reason why TIA was formed actually is to bridge the gap using what you know, translating it into commercializable or industrializable products and services. Our mandate really is to support the state in stimulating and intensifying innovation. And as you can gather, it may sound like you are hearing the very same things from the different partners, but we play different roles in that value chain. CIPC is leading us nationally on intellectual property. We're working with NIPMO. We are supporting publicly funded IP and making sure that it gets supported as it were. The role of TIA really is, I would say it's fourfold. We say we are a funder. But before I go there, just to build on, you know, I had quite creative words of motivation from our different partners and the TVC as well. To say the mission for TIA is to convert what you know to valuable products and services. I'm going to ask you for it to sink in. Use what you know to create value. And having said it this way, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, is that we really appreciate that innovation must not be an abstract thing. For us here at universities, those who can speak English fluently, each and every one of our citizens needs to appreciate these possibilities, how ideas can actually get converted to valuable products and services. Back to my presentation. We are a funder. We do what we call risk funding. We fund ideas. We fund where nobody else wants to fund because it's too risky. We use taxpayers' money per mandate to then fund you, innovators, researchers, universities, and so forth, to try out that new reaction methodology, to try that new product onto the market. It's there to help you. We're using risk funding. Obviously, anybody can say, I have a good idea, Come, let's have a conversation. The other element that we really do as TIA really is to connect industry, researchers, and funders, and so forth, so that they meet up somewhere. Because many times we find that innovators don't want money. They need advice. They need market access. They need other things than money. And then we must be able to then perhaps direct and guide those innovators as it were. TIA has money. Let me finish my statement. We have money, but the money is little. However, let's rather spend that little wisely and support those innovations that are available. So the reason why I was saying we have money, but it's little money. When we have de-risked your idea or your technology or your product, there are other people out there that has bigger pockets than TIA. Then we'll have to hand you over to them to say, hey, we've put in 100 million here, but you have 1 billion, please work with this person, because the technology is working, it's promising, we have numbers, and actually there's greater potential to actually experimentify this technology, this process, this methodology. So then we do what we call, we facilitate those conversations, late stage funding, the venture capital guys, the angel funders, series 3, series 4, kind of funders for those who understand the investment space. We also have what we call enabling technology infrastructure. Technology stations, I know there's one here at VUT, is one of the technology infrastructures that TIA is funding. There's one in Limpopo on agro-processing, 3 in Cape Town, CPUT, CUT, and so forth, specializing in different areas. These are technology infrastructure where you are able to get engineering advice, develop prototypes, kind of have your product shelf ready. We are funding those institutions as TIA. Remember, it's not only about the idea, it's not only about the technology. It's going nowhere fast if it's not built by teams. So this is how we are trying to intervene and support the different innovators. We fund all sectors, gentlemen and ladies. We don't discriminate. All the sectors from ICT, health, agro, agriculture, advanced manufacturing, and so forth. So any innovation, perhaps advanced manufacturing to do those shoes that we talked about, or the different materials in sports, any new idea. We hear all sorts of motivational talks and examples, gentlemen and ladies. From our end as TIA, we say anybody can do it. Anybody can do it, and we are here to support this process, to support the World IP Day, to say that it is doable. And we are a partner to that, gentlemen and ladies. I have my last words here that talks to grassroots innovators. We have a program called the Grassroots Innovation Program, which works on a call basis, and it's targeting young people. Young people, those who are not in a formal education space, at least those who are not using their university work to innovate. They can innovate whilst being students, but then they will not go through the technology transfer office route. They are innovators by themselves. Are we together? Those, normally, I say, after they graduate from here, they are unemployed. But if they have ideas, they can apply to the Grassroots Innovation Program, where even we'll give you a grant. I don't know if, for students. A grant of 260,000 rands. 200,000 rands is meant for you to develop your business around your idea. The 60,000 rands is a stipend for you to be able to move around and help make your business. Services that you'll get, IP, opinion searches, business model, business development, kind of services. It's a start. Who will give you 260,000 rands? I know many of us, we think a business is you started with 1 million, 2 million, 10 million. You are not there yet. Let's start small. There was an example about visually impaired technology that Mr. Pole talked about. I'm going to close on this one. We also have a young man from the Free State in Tennyson. He developed a capability for people who are visually impaired to use a smartphone. Right, let me quickly demonstrate. A person that can see pairs a cell phone via Bluetooth to a gadget. Small little gadget like this. Like a match size, it has 5 buttons. 1 left, 1 right, 1 top, 1 bottom, and then there's a center button that would then depict OK or enter or confirm. The way how this tool works is that you are able, after you've paired the cell phone to the gadget, you are able to move through the different icons of your phone. For instance, you go to list of contacts, you move your apps icons to a particular app. Here, for instance, list of contacts, you say enter, it gives a sound, and then you go, say, I want Jacob. It goes down to Jacob, and then you say enter Jacob, and then press enter again, you make a call. This will be then for a visually impaired person. I normally ask a question, who does that? If they can do it, we can also do it. We've got a portfolio of projects, gentlemen and ladies. Please, I would encourage you to go onto our website, www.tia.org.za, and have a lot of those success stories, gentlemen and ladies. We are spending taxpayers' money to make sure that we are also at the forefront of competition out there via technology. With that, Program Director, my new CEO, Dr. Mate, said that he conveys his apologies. However, he is with us, and he really promises us that we are going to be together in hosting the World IP Day in 2 weeks' time here at VUT. I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes. Thank you very much. A promise was made by the new CEO to say money will be available. Innovate will bring money on board. That is what they say. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you that I'm the most powerful person in this room today. May I allow myself to abuse the platform in the presence of my boss here. Vaal University of Technology has benefited from TIA programs. We've got TechStation, which deals with 3D printing. And amongst other products that we have outside right now, which I'm urging all of you to go and see before you leave, we've got a fridge that was 3D printed, a bar fridge that was 3D printed, that does not use electricity and is functioning very well. One is not an ordinary fridge, we printed it inside. 2, it does not use electricity, it uses the battery, and it is developed by one of the young people around. There are other services that we are doing. We are doing a lot of printing medal, they will speak about that, but I'm urging colleagues, before you leave, just outside there, find out the coffee, the type of shoes we are able to produce here in Vaal University of Technology. And we are simply saying to all of you, with your potential and capabilities, that come back and see the programs we are offering and come make a deal with us so that we can roll these products and offering to the young people of Vaal. Because of if we have these tech stations and these tech stations are not benefiting young people around, we are as good as nothing. Your support will be highly appreciated in any form which looks like money. We will really appreciate that. And on the program, we are going to have just mini entertainment of our disc performers. While disc performers are performing, I'll request members of the panel to come to the front, and the team will then put the microphones on them so that after the disc performers, we can start with the panel discussion. Disc performers, are you guys in the house? I saw you guys in the morning. Are you still around? Oh, yes. Oh, they were practicing. Yeah, no, they were just polishing their skills. In the meantime, say, can we just have just little music? Yes. Well, let's call the panelists. Ms. Tumelo Mashabela is here. Can you please come to the front? Mr. Grant is here. Is he still around? Yes. All the panelists, can you please come to the front? Latest, we will be done. Will be done. Sure. No, here. Just have a seat here. Mr. Aaron Mukwena, panel member. The platform is yours. As soon as you start entertaining the people, no. Mr. Grant. This is the first panelist, Mr. Aaron Mukwena. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a round of applause. This is a skill. This is a skill, yes. again. Who's there? Yeah. We are left with Mr. Mokwena, Aaron Mokwena. He just went out briefly. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause. Thank you very much, colleagues. While we are waiting for one of the panelists, can we just take 2 minutes and give my colleague, Martha Ikome, just to write a brief background of the panelist while we are waiting for Mr. Mokwena. Ms. Ikome, kindly come and introduce the panelists to us.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On our panel today, we have Mr. Grant van Velden. Grant is the head of high performance at Cricket South Africa, where he leads the integration of sports science, medicine, and performance support for the Proteas and National Talent Pipeline. He is responsible for driving high performance strategy and ensuring players are physically prepared to meet the demands of the national cricket. What a brilliant job you've got there. With a strong background in elite sports, Grant oversees key areas including performance enhancement, initiatives, strength and conditioning, workload management, injury prevention, and sports technology. He has played a central role in implementing advanced performance technologies and data-driven systems to enhance player readiness and resilience. Grant is passionate about building high-performance environments that enables athletes and teams to consistently perform at their best in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Grant. Our next panelist is the beautiful Ms. Tumelo Mashabela. With over 2 decades in the legal profession and 16 years post-admission experience, Tumelo is a seasoned patent attorney whose practice spans intellectual property, corporate and commercial law. A graduate of the American University, Washington College of Law with an LLB in intellectual property and technology law. She offers deep expertise in complex IP transactions and strategy. Her practice encompasses a broad range of intellectual property, corporate and commercial law matters with specific expertise in drafting contracts, developing IP strategies, concluding IP audits, and conducting IP audits, and due diligence investigation. In 2026, Tumelo leveraged this extensive expertise to find her own firm, Mashabela
Chaya Mashabela Attorneys, established herself as a leading figure in the IP legal landscape. I can testify that she is a name you must reckon with in the space. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Tumelo. Ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman whose picture you see on our screen now is called Mr. Grant Painter. He started with peak timing in 2026 as account manager and currently the managing director and partner in the business. My passion, or his passion, for the sporting events industry started when he got involved as a race director for Discam. Who would believe that Discam is also into sports? I thought it was just medicine. Okay. So he did Discam Marathon, also known as Baujen Half Marathon around 2014. The need for chips timing was recognized at the Discam Half Marathon. He started as a need for the Gauteng area, soon led a bigger national footprint. Today, he is able to service the event across South Africa. So when you hear the name Discam Half Marathon, you must just think of Grant Painter as the champion. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mr. Painter. Ladies and gentlemen, while we wait for Mr. Aaron Mokoena, who is so busy with interviews outside, I would briefly give the bio of our moderator for today. The reason why I'm saying I'm going to summarize is because he seems to be the longest on the program, and he told me personally that we are working on time. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Thabo Kole, who is an accomplished South African legal practitioner, an intellectual property specialist, whose mentor also happened to be Ms. Tumelo Mashabela. So today we are going to see the student and the teacher at work. Tumelo, we will be measuring you after Thabo's brilliant work. Thabo is also multidisciplinary expert spanning in law, science, technology transfer. He is currently serving as the IP manager for VUT, where he leads institutional IP strategy, innovation governance, and commercialization initiatives in compliance with the Intellectual Property Rights and Publicly Financed Act. So that's your IPR Act. Further, he is the founder and creator of TK Attorneys, a boutique law firm providing specialist services in intellectual property, corporate law, commercial law, and related legal disciplines. I can tell you today, Thabo is busy conducting novelty searches for VUT under disclosures. Call him the next day and he's telling you, Mata, I've got a labor case in court. And then the next minute, he is busy talking about science. So I can tell you, he is indeed multidisciplinary. Ladies and gentlemen, our program director for today, Mr. Thabo Kole, who also doubles as our moderator for the panel. Okay. We can see Mr. Mokoena is very important. I really have to source his profile. Ladies and gentlemen, in absentia, just give him 2 minutes, he should be here. I would like to introduce to you Mr. Aaron Mokoena, who is a retired South African professional footballer. So today, we are really speaking to him. He should tell us all the techniques that are in the field of football. So what an honor to have him to be as part of our panel. He is a record-holding national team captain, affectionately known as Mbazo. Yeah, it is translated the axe. I wonder, axe and football. Okay. The experts in the house can tell us how it correlates. Oh, he cuts the ball. You see, I have an expert there. Okay. For his aggressive attacking style, that is why he's called the axe. A commanding center back. He is Bafana's most capped player. Oh my goodness, he should be here. Because he's got 107 caps to his name. Wow. Such an honor. And captained the side at the 2010 FIFA World Cup. He played for Europe Cups, including Ajax Amsterdam, KRC Kent, Blackburn Rovers, Portsmouth before retiring in 2013. Mokoena is the youngest player ever to represent South Africa. He was only 19 when he played in 1999 at the 2000 Olympic qualifiers. Since retiring, Mokoena has transitioned into coaching and coaching roles within South African football. He briefly serves as assistant coach at Cape Town City in 2021 and later obtained a CAF B coaching license, focusing on youth developing and scouting. As of 2025, he holds the position of assistant head squad for the South African Football Association, SAFA, contributing to talent identification and national team preparation while also working as a football pundit. In 2025, he was inducted into the South African Hall of Fame and recognized by FIFA in their Century Club for players with 100 and more international caps. Ladies and gentlemen, in absentia, Mr. Aaron Mokoena. So while we wait for him to grace us with our presence, the moderator will join the panelists just to get acquainted with themselves as I go fetch him myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martha. We are succeeding because of people like yourself. Colleagues, without any further ado, they said it is a student versus the teacher. And for me, it's an honor today to speak to Ms. Mashabela. I think without any further ado, colleagues, we are going to start with Ms. Mashabela, just to give us a brief introduction to say, Ms. Mashabela, what is it that you are doing on a daily basis when you are simply saying you are a boutique law firm that specializes with intellectual property?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. No, thank you so much. I think before I start, I must say it's also an honor for me. Thabo was my candidate attorney, my first candidate attorney when we started. So seeing him directing this media launch, I feel I'm very proud. You know, he has really grown within the industry, and he can, from here on, he can just continue flying. So I'm very proud of the work that you're doing here at VUT, as well as the passion that you illustrate when you're talking to all of us. So back to your question, Chaya Mashabela Attorneys, yes, we specialize in intellectual property, and on a daily basis, we assist innovators in the protection of their creations. So, when innovators come, Thabo spoke about quite a number of innovations that have been happening or have been created within the various sporting codes. When they come up with those innovations, as a firm, we assist them in creating, in protecting those innovations. But I'm a firm believer that, protecting your IP is not the end all and be all, and it's not good enough. So once they have protected their intellectual property, we then assist them with commercializing those particular intellectual property rights. They've spent money in protecting this particular IP by obtaining patents or trademark or designs. So what we also assist them in doing is how do they then make money from those creations that they have protected. So that's the kind of work that I do. We do a lot of skills development. I love sharing knowledge. So I usually go out to a lot of institutions and talk to small businesses. So I always say that, people assume that the big businesses are there, because, they started that way. But I'm a believer that intellectual property is what assisted them in getting to that particular platform. Similar with IP in sport. If you look at a lot of athletes who are actually milking it and making a lot of money, they have leverage on the use of intellectual property. Your Messi and Ronaldo is not just a skill, because I always say that, as an athlete, you have and then, I have people who have played, they can probably attest that you have only so much time in competing as an athlete. So what you should be thinking about is that past competition years, how do I then generate income? And there are some athletes that have actually used intellectual property beyond the competition years so that they can generate income and become successful.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That is very, very comprehensive. Mr. Grant van Velden, kindly tell us, how does your day look like and how do you contribute to innovation within cricket South Africa?
I'm sitting.
So my role is very much behind the scenes. So I attempt as best as I can to put some systems and structures around our various teams that will not only enhance the performance of the players, but also try to get the best out of the coaching staff, the management, strength and conditioning coaches, physios, etc. So my role day to day is to ensure that those programs are running. We've got the best people possible in those roles. I'm not necessarily hands-on on the ground with the teams and the players, but I'm more in the background trying to put those systems and structures together. Sometimes I feel like I'm writing more deviations and proposals than actually getting my hands dirty. But yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell what I'm busy with on a day-to-day basis. We've just finished our cricket season, but we're entering the busiest time of the year for us with our winter programs. We've got a number of teams traveling overseas outside of our Proteas teams. Our women are 2 months away from a T20 World Cup in the UK. Our South African A side are a month away from touring the UK. Our under-19 men's side are off to the UK as well, along with our under-19 women's team. They have their World Cup in January next year in Bangladesh and Nepal. So they have started their 12-month build-up to that World Cup. So they're off to Pakistan in June. We've got our men's academy, our women's academy that are also running between May, June and July. We've then got Bangladesh coming for an inbound tour playing against our men's academy as well as our women's academy. So it's a full-on next 4 months for us at Cricket South Africa. Our winter's our busiest time in the departments that I'm looking after. So yeah, looking forward to it, but it's going to be very busy.
Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. Mr. Grand Panther, tell me about your role as a managing director of Timing Peak and your daily activities.
Hi, yes. Good morning to everybody, and thank you for the opportunity. So I think what we've got the opportunity to do is to take technology and this IP and have commercialized it. So we're not the leaders in the world, but within South Africa, we're a dominant player. So our technology that we're really using is ultra high frequency technology to time races, everything from one of the speakers spoke, but from road running to cycling, swimming, triathlons. And the need for there is based on the runner themselves or the sportsman to go from timing themselves or maybe someone with a stopwatch timing them to make it more real time. So, and in high density races specifically, that's where we specialize in those areas. So the time runners from anything from 2,000 to 30,000 runners and being able to deliver real-time timing to them. So we've got that ability, we've commercialized it, and I think that's one of the outcomes of a lot of the work that's been done at ground level, and we've got to the stage where we've commercialized it and working with everything from running clubs to businesses who want to time an event. So that's what we're involved with.
Thank you very much, sir, for that comprehensive introduction. Our own legend, Mr. Aaron Mokoena Mbazo, our own former captain of Bahana Bahana. Because in Setswana, we cannot say Bafana Bafana. In Setswana, it's Bahana Bahana. It is a great pleasure and honor, sir, to have you amongst our midst.
Thank you.
You disappearing from our big screens. One wonders what is Mr. Mokoena up to. And today, we are simply saying, we are ready, we are innovating, and we are set up. Now, I just want to know, what is it that you are up to? What are you engaging in terms of sports?
Yeah, good morning to everyone. Thank you for the opportunity as well. I always like to say I'm from the dusty streets of Wipatong in Sidibeng, and I'm proud of that. Currently, I'm working at South African Football Association. I'm one of the youth coaches, qualified CAF B license coach, qualified C UEFA coach. I'm the assistant recruitment at SAFA, so in scouting department. That's what I'm doing every day. And I'm proud to say last year it has been a beautiful year for our youth at SAFA, since I've been there, yes, since I've been there. Our under 17 boys have won COSAFA. COSAFA, it's obviously countries within Southern Africa. Our under 17 have won that, thank you. They have also qualified for the World Cup. Under 20 have won African Cup of Nations. They also qualified for the World Cup as well. So we, in scouting department, we actually had to go back and think about, making sure that our development, as in cricket you do, in rugby you do, our development has to be in good shape. So we had to waste energy and resources in our development, so we can obviously have, we always talk about the 1996 players that have won Africa Cup of Nations, but till when? We talk about the 2010 players who have played in the World Cup in South Africa, till when? We have to have that, that benchmark, that nice development structure. So our focus at the moment, as much as Bafana Bafana, Banyana Banyana are doing well in global stages, we have forgotten about these young ones, including the girls as well. At the moment, last week actually, we had a interprovincial tournament for the under 15 boys and girls, under 17 boys and girls. together with FIFA, to give them a feel as well, our little ones, the girls, to give them a feel as well of participating in big stages. I mean, these girls wants to be, wants to play in bigger stages. And where it starts, actually, it starts from, the 15 years, 17 years. So we're absolutely doing a great job behind the scene in scouting department and youth coaching. So that's what I'm doing daily at South African Football Association.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate that. But with what you are saying and with your experience and your global footprint, do you think South Africa, SAFA, is doing enough in terms of innovation within the soccer fraternity?
No, definitely. I was listening to Grant when he speaks about what he does within cricket. I mean, we have the performance analysts, we have the condition coaches, and them coaches has to work closely with our technology people, and the data. So we try to keep data, and that data it's well kept when obviously you work with people who are clear when it comes to how to use that technology. And our players, before you come to the camp, you get a call-up letter, you get to the camp, there's a medical test that you have to go through, and technology comes in as well. And that it helps us as coaches to know actually who's fit and who's not. These players, when they come to camps, they come in different levels of fitness. So through technology, we can be able to see actually who's left behind. Remember, some players are playing week in, or maybe let me just put it this way, our leagues are not the same across the world. So when they come to camp, we try to see actually who's fitter than the other, but we want every player to be in the same level of physical conditioning. So technology is very, very important in that manner. And you spoke about the boots that we use, the gears that we use back in the years. Yes. Back in the years, I used to use Patrick. It was a rugby soccer boots, as long as here, just above my ankles. Hey, that boots used to be heavier. So with my travelings, of course, and development, I was introduced in lighter boots. I became the brand ambassador of Nike. The boots were so lighter. They made our life so easy. As a big guy as me, once you were in those boots, actually you become lighter. So the shirts as well. We have just launched through Adidas. We have just launched a new Adidas technical shirt, where comparing it with the 2010 World Cup jersey, there's a big difference. I mean, you touch this material, it's like silky. So it's between silky and this lighter material. So football has evolved. Back in the years, we used to have the games where it's absolutely folky, violence within stadiums. But because of technology, right now, actually, we have absolutely well-structured stadiums. We can track actually what's happening within the stadiums. The VAR, I know that a lot of people are not favorite of VAR, but I am because I have been in situations where as a defender, you nail a person right now, or maybe it's just an obstruction, and it end up now being a penalty. Now, introduction of VAR, it serves the best purpose by absolutely taking a minute of coming up with a proper or a good decision. So technology in football at the moment, I think it's what we needed. Cricket have introduced that back in the years, and it's helping a lot. Rugby as well. So I'm sitting there listening to all the speakers speaking about the evolution of sport. I always say, from the dusty streets of Buipatong, I'm the brand.
Amen.
I am the brand. That's where IP comes in, if I'm not wrong.
Correct, correct.
Yeah. You invite me, you have to pay me, unfortunately. Yes, I always say our players have to understand that my image is my property.
Amen to that, yes.
You spoke about the Cristiano Ronaldos and the Messi. Their images are their properties. And why, when it comes to us, from the dusty streets of Buipatong, you don't want to pay me? Pay me. Pay me. I'm the most kept footballer in the history of Bafana Bafana. And yes, I mean, it was luck, but it was hard work as well. As I mentioned, my qualifications, I've done sports management degree as well. So I don't compromise. I absolutely don't compromise. I think as a black society, sorry to say it, but it's the truth, black society, we need to understand that we have black people there, or black people out there who are doing extremely well and who are working so hard, and they need to be paid. I went to Washington to do the World Cup draw, and I met the President Motsepe for 2 minutes. What he said to me, he said, "Where are you?" I'm like, "No, I'm at SAFA. Are they paying you?" That's all he said. So all I'm saying is that technology, IP, CIPC, it's important in our world. We know that the world is now moving to AI as well. We need to move with the world, but it's important to pay Aaron Mokoena. Thank you.
Amen to that. Without a doubt, without a doubt. And I could not agree more. We should be paid for the services, for the skill, and for the image, for us to progress. We cannot only recognize the legend when they say, unfortunately, X passed on, we cannot even afford the funeral. It's a national embarrassment. Thank you very much for the comprehensive response. Ms. Tumelo Mashabela, within the law firm, you come across different kinds of IP. And today the theme is within the sport. Kindly just indicate the different kinds of intellectual properties that are there within the sporting code, and also the ways in which we can be able to assist in protecting them.
Okay, thank you so much. So, like you've already said, intellectual property protects the creations of the mind. And it protects the creations of the mind through the law so that the creators can have control as well as benefit from those creations. So some of the creations that emanate within a sport, I think Mr. Aaron Mokoena already spoke about one of it is a trademark. A trademark is your brand. But what I want to say is that, and I do agree that people need to be paid, but that is why we need to have these kind of conversations so that people need to know what is it that you need to do in order to ensure that you get paid. Because a lot of our people, we sit on the IP, but because you didn't take certain legal steps, that is why some of our people find themselves, dying as paupers because they did not protect. So I'm digressing, but going back to your question, we have a trademark. A trademark protects your brand. I was very happy when I did a search and I found that Caster Semenya, those names, her name, she has filed a trademark, although it's not yet registered, but she has filed a trademark. And not only that, she has even filed the Cobra logo. It means that Caster is seeing that after I have finished competing, how am I going to make money? So these are some of the things that, we make sure that subsequent to, you playing, you need to find ways of making money. However, if you do not proceed and file this trademark, then somebody comes ahead of you and they rob or take away what you would have benefited from. So Caster Semenya has filed a trademark, and I heard people talking about, some of the small clubs, and I said, let me conduct a search about Masandawana, and I realized that the big club, and I realized that they have filed plus minus 17 trademark applications from Sundowns family, Mamelodi Sundowns, Masandawana, and this is a type of intellectual property. And yes, Amakosi has also filed a few of those as well. But another, I know, I didn't get to that level. But another type of IP right is copyright. This is copyright. This is where if you come up with, certain events or certain images or certain graphics, those will be protected by copyright. Things like if there's a video or a football match, that football match is protected by copyright, and you can license that copyrighted material. Another type, I think Thabo spoke about, is the design of the soccer boots. You can actually obtain a registered design for protecting the manner in which those soccer boots appear to all of us. So that is another type of intellectual property right. We have patents. I think what my colleagues here were talking about, technologies that checks your performance. I mean, you spoke about it, Mr. Pata, about technologies that checks your performance. Those kind of technologies are protected by a patent. I think I was reading somewhere, it was in one of the Olympics where the Americans came up with a technology, because I think it was in winter, wherever it was being held. So the American team were wearing jackets that were actually, reacting to the temperature. If it's hot, then it will cool them down. If it's cold, it will make them, to become warmer. Those are some of the technologies that are protected by a patent. So those are some of the intellectual property rights, Thabo, that are protected, and that's how you protect them. Unfortunately, you have to go through a process of protecting them. For example, for a patent, unfortunately, you can't come and say, I have a patent if you have not undergone a process of protecting that patent and registering it through the CIPC. Similar with the trademark, you need to file a trademark at the CIPC as well as a design. But with copyright exists automatically. So you don't have to pay any attorney or anybody to say that I will protect your copyright. Just by the fact that you have recorded that video or that soccer match, you've recorded it, there is copyright protection that exists from that particular material. So I wanted to also just touch a little bit on image rights. So in South Africa, we do not have, relative to other countries like the US, they will have legislation that deals with image rights. And in South Africa, unfortunately, image rights is regulated through common law. Right. So, and I think maybe that is where a lot of our people are unable to use the image rights, and I would recommend that if you have like a Casper, you rather file a trademark, because image rights are not easy for you to for you to sort of even generate income from them. And like I'm saying, they're regulated through common law. However, we had a case with Basetsana Kumalo, the former Miss South Africa, where she went into, I think it's Cycle Lab, and a photo of her was taken, and now Cycle Lab was sort of promoting the bikes using her picture, and she, went ahead and litigated against Cycle Lab, and she won it, and it was because you are using my image, against fraudulently and in supporting your business. So it's something that, like I'm saying, it's because it's not a standalone and it's not as popular as in the US, like your Messi and your Ronaldo, they're using those kind of image rights. Maybe that is why a lot of our South Africans are not, are not using or unable to actually go after a lot of people when they use their images. But another thing, I spoke about the reason why, you might be asking, but why are you talking about Messi and Ronaldo? I conducted searches and trying to look for our rugby players. And I'm not saying my search was comprehensive, but I couldn't find, Sia Kolisi having filed a trademark for himself. And this is, like I'm saying, your competition years are limited. Yeah. So you should be asking yourself, post-competition, how am I going to make money? Yes, there are sponsorship, but they're sponsoring you at that time because, you are the big name. If you look at, who's the runner? Usain Bolt. Prior to him retiring, he started filing a trademark for his logo, and this is because he's thinking about, I'm going to either go to Nike and start selling some apparels, and I want to use my trademark. So yes, our people need to be paid, but we need education as well to say, how do we prepare ourselves? How do we make sure that this intellectual property of ours, we have protected it so that we can then have a leverage when we talk to the big guys who have money.
Thank you very much. I know you are raising most sensitive issues, and people are becoming unsettled and uncomfortable because they have not filed anything.
Yeah.
They are starting to be scared, and I'm looking at them.
I checked for Aaron Mugwen.
Yes. Even himself, I can see that, as he's nodding his head, he's starting to. But my other question is, are we doing enough to create awareness from the dusty streets? Because of that is where it all begins. And if we are not, what do you think should be done in order for a young person to understand and have the knowledge that you're talking about?
So if I was a Minister of Education, for me, intellectual property should be studied all from the onset. Wow. If you look at wherever you're sitting, there's intellectual property. If you're going to be a sports person, if you're going to be in media, if you're going to, whatever that you're going to do, there's intellectual property. I think, he can even probably tell you in whatever engagements that you've been having with other third parties, there's always intellectual property in those transactions. So hence I'm saying, if I had it my way, we would start from there. And other countries have started. The Chinese have started in making sure that intellectual property is actually understood at that particular level. And to your question, whether we're doing enough, I know the CIPC, they have quite a number of programs where, they are trying to go and educate people about intellectual property. Within our firm, as Chayama Shabalatenis, on our social media network grant, we actually published IP and cricket. And this is because I was telling him that my son, as young as he is, he loves cricket. So what we did is that we documented a video, a short video, just illustrating the various intellectual property that has actually happened, within the cricket industry. So these are some of the ways that we try to share knowledge, like I'm saying, on our social media platforms. But we also, work with various government institutions like your Innovation Hub, your Moses Kotane Institute in KZN, IDZ in East London. And for us, working with them is where we try to educate small businesses about intellectual property. But as to whether or not we are doing enough as a country, I don't think so. I can ask Aaron to say, as you are scouting, as well as you grant, are you having any conversation with the young guys about intellectual property?
No. Yes.
You understand? So I think hence I'm saying intellectual property, colleagues, it just touches everywhere. And for us as a country to move forward and have sustainable jobs or even move closer to any of these developed countries until we realize the importance of intellectual property and the value of it, I think we will always be left behind.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. Mr. Grant, what are the innovations that you find?
Well, firstly, I just want to say to Aaron that we have a colleague that expressed he's got a lot of money here in the audience. So if you need to send your invoice for the appearance, you can send it to him. And then you can send me his email address so I can send mine. Some of the innovations in cricket. So if we just look from a broadcast point of view, there's all of these innovations similar to maybe VAR. So you get the snickometer, you get the hotspot meter, which can see obviously when a ball hits a bat or it nicks the pad because of the friction, there's a transfer of energy and there's heat generated. So you can see that on the TV screen, which obviously assists with decision making. There's the same technology that's used in cricket is also used in tennis, so Hawkeye technology, where you can see, ball tracking on the TV. If the ball hits the seam, if the seam of the ball hits the wicket and deviates, you can see how the path changes of the ball. So that's just from a broadcast perspective. So what you would see on SuperSport or now, very recently, the Proteas games being broadcast on SABC, which is fantastic. If I look at it from a medicine and science point of view, it's probably a lot of the technology we use is probably very similar in the football space. Football over the years have kind of been the innovators in sport technology because of the money that's involved in football. Clubs, especially in Europe, have got almost endless budgets, it seems. So they can be trying a lot of this different technology. So we would use GPS devices, so athlete tracking technology, where the players would wear a little pod in between their shoulder blades in a vest to track their movements around the field. We get thousands of different metrics, but we only really use a handful of them. Total distance, accelerations, high-speed running, jumping, impacts in the rugby space. There's a metric that looks at impacts. So GPS is one of them. From a coaching point of view, we use an app called Full Track AI. It's an AI-based app that is on a phone or an iPad that you can put at the end of a wicket that can basically acts like Hawkeye does, but it's more portable. It's in your pocket, tracks the ball through the air, and you can get almost instantaneous feedback around the speed of the delivery, the deviation off of the wicket, the swing, the spin, all of that kind of stuff. We make use of an athlete management system where all of these different pieces of technology feed information into, so we can have one central location where we can go and look at all the different pieces of data that's produced by the different pieces of technology. Within the gym, we make use of a piece of technology called Team Builder. It's a software where our strength and conditioning coaches and our physios can design different strength and conditioning interventions for the athletes. It's all based, they can probably, they do it on their laptop and then they push those programs out digitally to the players' phones. So they can be in the gym, they can see exactly what exercises they need to do, at what intensity, what weights they need to be lifting. They can then fill that in on the app. It then can go back to the strength and conditioning coach. Because in the environment where we work, our players are all over the world at the same time. And it's probably very, very similar for the Bafana players. A lot of them, and the Banyana players, are all over the world playing in different leagues at different times. So how can we try and centralize the data? So us being able to push out information to them is very important, and then them being able to push that information back to us is important. From a medical point of view, we've got many different pieces of technology. We use probably the world's leading sports technological supplier at the moment is a company called Vaal, V-A-L-D. They've got a number of different pieces of technology that they produce and have distributed into the market that can get endless metrics from the different players. From if we look at their force decks product, it's a force decks that you put on the floor. Athletes can do different kinds of jumps on the force decks itself. It gives us really good insight into how powerful they are, if there's strength imbalances in their limbs, etc. And then obviously our performance enhancement team can try and rectify where the imbalances are. Our physiotherapists make use of a Vaal product called the Dynamo. It's a handheld dynamometer where you can put it in different positions and get athletes to push into it, whether it's with their shoulders or their legs to check their hamstring strength. So it's used more in the rehabilitation space. We're in the process of acquiring some laser technology for our physiotherapists that's portable, that they can use on the road with our national teams to try and accelerate recovery from injury. We also are in the process of acquiring some technology. It's called blood flow restriction cuffs. So it's basically, I'm sure many people here have had their blood pressure tested at some point. So it's a very similar kind of device. It's a device that creates pressure. It reduces blood flow to the muscles. So we can train at a very high intensity, but without actually having to train at a high intensity. So yeah, we can get similar kind of training adaptations in the muscles without the player needing to work as hard, if that makes sense. So if we can get the players working at a high intensity, at least how the muscles are feeling it, but actually not working that hard, it's going to allow them to recover quicker and be able to then perform quicker on the stage. So that's just kind of a brief overview from a broadcasting point of view, the different technologies that are at play there, and then in the medical and science and coaching space where I'm involved, how we are trying to bring in different pieces of technology into the space to not only enhance the players' performances, but also be able to enhance our practitioners' ability to get players back on the field quicker, allow them to recover faster, so that we can be at the top of our game more regularly. That's ideally what we're trying to do. We want to be able to have our athletes performing at their absolute best as often as possible, and reduce the amount of time that they are off the field through injury. We want our best players on the field as much as possible, delivering their skill sets that they've been blessed with at a really, really, really high level. And technology at the highest level of the game, and I know Aaron will be able to appreciate this, it's about the 1%ers and the 2%ers. And at the elite level, if you can find a piece of technology or an innovation that can help that 1% fall in your favor more often than not, that's going to be the difference between winning and losing. Progressing through a World Cup. Our Proteas, men and our women, yes, we had success in the men's space with the World Test Championship last year, but we often are getting to finals and semi-finals and are not able to get across the line. And yes, some of that comes into maybe the psychology of the players and the coaching and all of that stuff. But we want to be able to provide our players with technology that can make them really feel confident when they go on the field. That I've done absolutely everything that I can. I've got an incredible coaching staff. I've got an unbelievable medical and science and technology team that have prepared me to be the best that I can on the field. And that confidence, we hope, will obviously materialize into wins and successes on the field. We're very close, guys. We're going to be in the World Cup very, very soon. Don't be surprised if it's in our women's space before our men's space. Our women's Proteas are incredible. They are setting the benchmark in the country. And yeah, we're trying to support them as best as we can. You know, in a previous time, it was, you know, the men were getting significantly more than what the women are. I can tell you now that like match fees are the same. So our Proteas men are when they perform, they're getting the same as what the women are getting the same as the men. The women's game is still very much in its infancy. It's growing. It's getting there. We've got a professional league, which is fantastic. And yeah, all of the technologies are contributing towards that. So yeah, don't be surprised if our Proteas women's team win a World Cup before our men. It's coming. Yeah, as I say, we've got a T20 World Cup in June that our women are competing in the UK. We're gonna do our best there. We're confident in our T20 format for our women. And next year, if those of you who don't know, but we are hosting the 50 over men's World Cup in South Africa. The majority of the games are going to be here, and then we are pushing some of the games into Zimbabwe and Namibia so that we can spread the game a little bit as well. So next year is an incredibly, next year is a very, very important year for Cricket South Africa. We've got 4 ICC events that we are trying to win. We're going to try and defend our World Test Championship trophy, so that will be our Proteas men's side. They'll then have the 50 over World Cup in South Africa that we want to go and win on home soil for the country. Our SA Under-19 women have got their World Cup. It's a T20 World Cup in Bangladesh and Nepal. That will be the first event in January next year, so we want to try and start the year off on a good note. And then our Proteas women have got, I think, the first ever championship trophy, which the ICC are going to be having. I'm not sure where the venue of that is, but those are the 4 events we're trying to win next year. It's easier said than done in professional sport. You win, you lose quite often more than you win. So we're going to try our best to do the country proud and the nation proud. But that's where all of this technology that we are investing in now as Cricket South Africa, so that we can start collecting data that can help us make data-informed decisions, how best to look after our players. And some of that data is really having an impact now. We strategically are trying to rest certain players. So an interesting fact, you guys probably all know Kagiso Rabada, arguably the world's best fast bowler. If we hadn't intervened last year because of data that was produced that we were looking at, Kagiso would have been involved in 300 days of cricket, whether that is matches or training, last year, which is a lot.
It's a lot.
And for the longevity of his career, we were able to show him data from the different pieces of technology that we are collecting, saying, KG, we think you need to take a break. And
Brilliant.
And thankfully, not thankfully, because I don't want to wish the injury on any player, but he did pick up a niggle, and he had an enforced break, and we were able to extend that a little bit to just give him a rest. But we would have had to have stepped in and say, don't go to this league. Rather take a 4-week, 5-week break, come back, come to the panel beating shop. Let's fix things which are broken. Let's try and mend something so that you can play and extend your career as long as possible. Because we want them to maximize their ability to make money. Because there's a small window where these players can maximize their earnings from cricket.
Okay, thank you very much. That is extremely comprehensive. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Grant, you talked about your role being commercializing of different kinds of technologies. What are the different kinds of technologies that you are commercializing? And what are the trends in the market in terms of ways of commercializing? And are there any sporting innovations that your company currently is dealing with in terms of commercialization?
Okay, in terms of where we've commercialized, it's, like I mentioned earlier on, it's mostly in mass participation events. So what we're really doing is assisting events to make their event more professional. So let's take a road race, and it's become more professional because the event can host a race. They can ensure that every runner at the end of the day gets a time, and an accurate time. As opposed to in the past, some events would have tried to do it manually and failed at delivering that, and their own race is then seen as a failure on one side of the business. So that's really what we've done, is we've taken it to the marketplace. And when I say this is extended from your big events all the way down to in the remote parts of, you mentioned the Dusty Street. Last week we were in Venda doing a race of 800 runners or so. But traditionally, they wouldn't have had access to this technology because technology has become a bit cheaper over the years as well and more accessible. So it used to be seen as almost the top races and elite races could do it, where it's become more accessible for everyone who's holding a race of some sort to deliver this technology. Where the technology has been used further now is in assessments of the different races as well. So it goes to broadcasting as well. So where a race is broadcasted, the broadcaster wants to know who's leading the race, what their statistics are, where they are in the race, what their time is of that race as well. So that's highly important, because if you start reporting wrong times and that, broadcaster is seen as a failed broadcast. So that's one side. The next side, where it's been taken now even further, which is unfortunate, but has now been used as a policing tool as well, specifically in our long distance races. So where over the years we found people cheating, it's now this technology has been used to weed out the cheaters, basically. And this morning I was reading an article, this weekend is Two Oceans, and the Two Oceans race has got identified a whole host of different ways of cheating. And they're going to use the technology to try to weed out most of those cheaters out there. So that's where they really try to change the technology has gone and changed. There are new innovations coming, and those innovations, I believe, still being worked on at the moment, is you've got your watch. A lot of people have got some form of watch, a Garmin, a Polo watch, or whatever the case may be. I think in the future, potentially you'll see timing linked straight to the watch number. The company we become partners with has just been bought out by Garmin. So Garmin have obviously seen a need to get into this industry as well. So I think in the next few years we'll see different ways of timing mass participation events.
Thank you very much. This is the only time you get to talk to Ms. Mashabela for free. And if I don't allow at least 3 questions, I will have deprived you an opportunity to be guided and be brief. Time is against us. Don't say I'm very rude. I'm going to stop you if you now prolong your questions. So I'm not even allowed by my team to take questions, but because of I'm behind the mic, I've got power to decide. So now, I'm just going to give colleagues at least to take 3 hands, 3 questions. You pose to the panel, and then we just have brief discussion before we can close. I'm very generous, eh? First question. Any questions? I'm happy that there are no questions. Our panel is doing a great job, provided clarity. Mr. Mogoyase, parting words in brief.
I need to speak to to Tia. Dadetebo,
Yes.
I need you. I have the Aaron Mukwena Sports Academy. It's an NPO. So what actually we're trying to do is to obviously to give back to the community, but using football as a vehicle, but using AI or technology as well. So what we'll be trying to do, we'll be trying to give these participants an opportunity to do the computer courses. So we believe that not all of them, they will be professional athletes, but they need to have something to fall back into, which we thought that computer courses will absolutely play a big part in their lives in the future. So it's primary schools and high schools. And thank you for having us.
Thank you very much for honoring the invitation. Let it be known that we are not taking you for granted. You are a legend in South Africa. And for you to grace this occasion, to us, we really appreciate.
Thank you.
You're worth every penny that if we are going to pay you, because if we are done now.
They thought about it now.
We really appreciate your presence.
No, thank you.
Ms. Mashabela, parting words?
Thank you so much, Thabo. I think the young people say, don't sleep on IP. So for me, is especially, and I'm happy that I'm talking to, I'm part of a panel with people people who are part of decision makers, and I'm saying that let's educate our players. Let Kahiso know that he's not going to be physically fit forever. He's not going to compete forever. He should be thinking about post that. How do I make money? Yes, the sponsorship, you become an ambassador, but then somebody else comes in and you know they move you aside. But while you are still in your prime years, how do I make sure that I protect this you know, this Kahiso Rabada, this name Kahiso Rabada, so that I can then go back? And I know that it becomes a little bit difficult because I'm asking, let's say, Safa, who probably may not want these players to know about these things, you understand, because they have a different interest. But what I'm saying is that let us educate our athletes. Let our athletes know about their rights, know about their intellectual property, know that they can actually monetize it. I think some of my colleagues said that, you know, IP, maybe in the couple of years, you can become a commodity. IP is actually a commodity now. You can actually put it in your books as part of your asset. You can actually evaluate that trademark or that name of Kahiso Rabala can have a value, and such that he can trade in using that particular value of his name. So it is important that we educate ourselves and we know about intellectual property and don't sleep on IP. You can actually make a lot of money from intellectual property. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mashabela. You know, Ms. Mashabela will tell you without fear and favor to say, no, Thabo, I am a value. For my time, you pay. And she's correct. Do you know that Ms. Mashabela, she's one of the first black patent attorneys, and a woman for that matter, in South Africa. So I just want to say, I'm not trying to be on my high horse. I was not cooked from cheap pots. I was properly baked, eh? Thank you very much. Mr. Grant, parting words?
Yeah, no, just thanks very much for inviting us here today, so I can tell you a little bit more about what we're trying to do in the cricket space, in taking the game forward in the country. We do it for the people of South Africa. We want the teams to be doing well. So yeah, please support the teams. Please go out, bums in seats at the stadiums, go and watch. Our women are playing against India now, coming up. Probably the world's best team at the moment, the Indian women's side. Go out and watch them. There's 5 T20s coming up in preparation for the World Cup. And yeah, please just continue support for the Proteas. We value the people of South Africa supporting our national teams, buying jerseys, intellectual property, and supporting the men and the women. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much, sir, and thanks for coming. Yes, we are moving. We are moving. I'm glad that I've got audience that does not care about food. We are serious about this thing. Mr. Grand Panther, any parting words, sir?
Yeah, just thank you very much. And yeah, we do it purely for the commercialization. Now, guys, we've got a passion actually, and me and my team are passionate of success rate. Of our philosophy is we want 100% success rate every time we time an event. So hopefully you've learned a little bit about maybe if you do participate in a race, where does that time come? Or if you're watching a race, where does that time come? And the other side is I've actually learned a lot today myself from listening to the speakers early on and the panel today in terms of, and I think some of it I can pass on because there are people that I know who own races or holding races, and they're questioning how do they protect their race. And I'm going to give them some of that feedback and guidance where they can go to in the future to protect their name. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. I want to say something and propose in the presence of the leadership of the national here to say, please come back. A young person in this Sebokeng, in Sharpeville, needs the knowledge. If you have the resources, We are the soldiers on the ground waiting patiently to be armed to ensure that we assist young people. Maybe the time has come where, look how empty these seats are. We are launching today. But this valuable information we have, colleagues, can we please make sure that it reaches the right people? There's no need for me to prove that I know, because of I know. There is somebody who is hungry for this information, whom we must feed, so that tomorrow we can see young people developing as a result of the information we are putting. Ndata Jase and Ndata Tawoho, let's take resources and put the same team, pay them accordingly, so that we start programs that speaks to the young people. To start programs that benefit the scholar. To start programs that speaks to teachers. Because of that is where we will be able to win this. If we keep on doing these IP workshops for our own selves, they are not reaching the right audience. It is for media and publicity, and that is very wrong. With the authorities' resources and the mandate given to us, let's use these resources for the right reasons and right purpose, so that we are not a generation that is going to be judged by the failures, but we set a right tone to the young people of Sebokeng, of Sharpeville, of Wipadong. Colleagues, thank you very much for being part of this panel. We are giving something. I was not aware of that. Okay, fine. Colleagues, before you leave, we want to provide you with some present here. The DVC is here. We don't just want to leave you empty hands, even if from TIA the budget is not yet here. We have something that we want you guys to take home as a token of appreciation. Thank you, colleagues. DVC, can we please give colleagues present? Martha, where is Martha? Yes. Ntate Mojalefa, Ntate Peche, yeah. While we are waiting for the closing remarks, where are the soccer freestylists? Now, time is against us. Just for 2 minutes, Ntate Mojalefa. Yes. Yeah, no, we are done. Okay. Just 5 minutes, just show us your skills again for the last time. And we will have our DVC afterwards to give us the closing remarks. Which pictures? This one? No, here. Thank you so much. Thank you. I need to run to go catch my flight. Oh, thank you. Thanks for your time, man. Thank you very much.
When they are finished, he needs a picture of all the panelists.
They are just about to leave. They are about to leave. Take them for a picture. Outside someone. Yeah. Please do that. Take them. You're not leaving, right? You take the picture and send it. That's sure, thank you. Go and clean. That's nice. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. We really appreciate. Colleagues, before I call the DVC to the podium, my boss, Professor Simpiwe Spichnelana, I want to address you that we did not buy these things you see here. This is as a result of the skill, competency that the university has in relation to sports. These are not even a percentage of what we have. We just said, okay, let's just give them a taste of what we are able to achieve within the sporting sector as an institution. So the trophies we have decided in collaboration with the sport department to say, this is a theme, let's just give you what we are able to have. Thank you very much. And most important thing, colleagues, thank you for giving me an opportunity to drive this big vehicle with a small license. This is an indication to say, as Vaal University of Technology, we've got all what it takes to deliver a project of this magnitude without fear and favor. We will never disappoint. And when you have anything, again, come to us. Don't even hesitate to call us to say, we want to collaborate with you. We are ready to collaborate each and every time because we've got skills and expertise. We've got a team that can assemble projects of this magnitude. I can attest to that again to say, National Department of Science and Technology, they are here because they heard about us. They came to collaborate. So don't be afraid to say those people will not have what it takes to deliver this. With all the stakeholders, the meetings that we had, we were able to deliver this baby successfully today. And for trusting me as an alternative, there was an MC, but I was just taken as an alternative. But because we just said we can be able to deliver this, we really did. And colleagues, thank you very much for entrusting me with responsibilities to land you safely where we are. With that being said, let me give my boss, Professor Spichnelana, just to say words of thanks. And thank you very much, colleagues.
Good afternoon. Yeah, don't be scared by the name that I'm going to give a speech. Yeah, it's got nothing to do with the. I'm going to do something that I don't normally do and start with internally to thank, because I normally forget the people who brought us here. Also want to, I've never reprimanded them for this. This event was not approved by me. I learned about it afterwards. They came to me with a letter saying that we're hosting the World IP Day. Thabo did this. And I like that. I like that the fact that we as senior or executive mustn't micromanage our people. When they see an opportunity, we must allow them that space to be innovative. So the fact that Thabo went out of his way to negotiate, because he convinced me after getting confirmation that this is a good event, that it will put VUT on the map. So let's thank Thabo. Let's thank Thabo by giving a round of applause, Mr. Hole. So, also for monopolizing the event. He did a good job as a program director. I think before I get to what I'm here for, maybe in 1 minute, I joined VUT fresh out of university with a PhD in 2008. First lecturing job. There was not much research going on. We were the first cohort of PhD holders. And within 6 months, I became in charge of research at the Faculty of Applied and Computer Sciences. And fast forward to 2016, I joined VUT as a director of research. But there was one thing that I realized: the gap between research and innovation was there, even structurally. The Directorate of Research and the Directorate of Innovation were miles apart, and that's not supposed to happen. As a result, I was never exposed as a Director of Research to TIA, because I had nothing to do with TIA. There was NRF. I had also not exposed to NIPMO. What happened then was that the researchers that were, and which is the majority, that I was in charge of, were not aware of innovation. I need to say this, that we have come a long way. I also want to mention that at the time, there was no separate or standalone DVC portfolio for research and innovation. I'm saying these things to show how we've evolved. So, luckily, around 2016, fast forward to 2021, I was brought here to take over as acting executive director. That's when we started this journey of integration. That's why we're here today. We brought in people that we knew that are sharing this vision. As a result, we have not reached our goal yet, but we're getting there. But at least now we have seed funding from TIA that we're participating in. As a result, what I liked about TIA, I'm not sure whether it's a policy, TIA insisted that the seed funding committee must be chaired by a director of research. I'm not sure if it's still a policy. Is it? Yes. So I like that. As I said, I'm not going to give a speech, but I'm emotional about these things, just like Advocate Rory earlier on. Because if we don't have passion about what we do, we're doomed. We must show passion, then others will follow. So I've been brought in here to thank you as the Deputy Vice Chancellor responsible for research and innovation, commercialization, and internationalization. I get more money than other TVCs because I had four portfolios. So, I'm rich. I'm rich. We are going to reserve speeches for the day because there's still more time for us to talk about what IP is about. But I think today signifies the importance of innovation and IP. But there's another aspect that we need to push even harder: entrepreneurship and the issue of incubation. Thabo, I want to see more students on the day. But even more so, I want to see more professors here. Because if we don't do this in the classroom, we're doomed. If I'm teaching HIBA process in chemistry, production of ammonia, I must include innovation and IP there. Mustn't just focus on balancing the equation, like I used to do as a lecturer. I must say that HIBA process was done in 1903. What has happened since? We were discussing the other day about the fact that during the sanctions, Sasol was formed for the apartheid government to produce fuel for themselves. And some of the technology that was there is still used today. And I know they took the technology from Germany, Fischer-Tropsch process, an innovative process. So in essence, colleagues, what I'm saying is that we as a university, we need to have more researchers, students getting involved. That's why I want to see them on the day to be inspired. I also want to mention that we are the first university to be selected by the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation to host their National Science Month. There's always been science weeks. For the first time this year, we're going to have a science month. It's being launched at VUT. I'm drawing these parallels for a reason. There's a need for us to have these things here in Sebokeng, in Van der Bijl Park. This used to be the hub of industrialization. We need to go back to that. Okay, let me now do what I'm here for. I'm grateful to be reporting to a very progressive Vice Chancellor, Professor Kehla Ndlovu. We are having another program that we are actually part of, but he insisted that we rather have that program where the events are. So let's thank him for being the leader that he is. I would like to thank also Advocate Rory Vola, CIPC Commissioner. Me and him, I think, are the same. We get excited. We also don't speak from the script. We just talk what is in the heart, right? So I like that. Also from NIPMO, Mr. Tabang Jase. And also, I also want to thank Ms. Nontombi Maseko. Also, Mr. Tibo Seseng. I'm not sure whether when I left, you showed where the money was, because you said Tia had money, and I got excited, but you said it's not enough. But you didn't tell us where are we going to get this money to make it more. But thank you for that. Colleagues, thank you for agreeing to allow VUT to showcase their capabilities. We're here because you had, in your wisdom, decided that VUT is the best host for this event this year. And also to our panelists, I must confess, Mr. Mokoena, and this is embarrassing, I've never went to a Bafana game because I'm a rugby fan. It's not like I hate soccer, but I've never went to a Bafana game. So I'm happy that now I'm seeing you. So now this is a moment for me. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Also, Mr. Grant Felden, thank you for joining us as a panelist. Also, Mr. Grant Pender for being a panelist. Also, our friend. I won't mention how we got to know each other, Tumelo. But every event that we have, Ms. Tumelo Mashabela is always part of our events. And can you give her a round of applause for that? Because of the commitment I think she has on the field of IP and innovation. And I think there are few people like you who are actually committed to this journey. As I indicated, as VUT was still at a very initial stage of our innovation, but we're getting there. But I want to thank all of you for taking time off of your busy schedule. I'm hoping that when we have the main event, we will bring more people with you. Because we don't expect VUT to also just bring people. We expect these agencies that are here to also bring people with them so that we can host them. We are a good host. You know our program director here is very excited. He's very energetic. Yeah. So colleagues, I hope I have not missed anyone or I have not left out anyone. I also want to thank the team, Mrs. Mata Ikome, Tabo, thank you, Khonsi, and their boss, Mr. Maimo Kobe, unfortunately is not here with us today, but also he has been behind the scenes, work with this, on this event. So on behalf of Vaal University of Technology, I want to thank all of you, the Vaal University of people, colleagues, everyone else who has been supporting us. I hope the event will be a success. And it will be bigger than any other event that you've hosted. Thank you very much.
Colleagues, I was not aware that the principals are going to get something. Yeah, the principals are getting laptops. Apple, I think, is it laptop? Yeah, and let them come to the front. We give them something just to say thank you very much. Where are we eating, Martha? After. Okay, we are going to get food from outside, and then we are eating from here. Can we please come this side so that pictures... Martha, am I getting something? Seriously? This is important. We will really appreciate if principals, afterwards, we do a group photo and our panelists as well.
We need the exhibition.
Okay. I don't have it. Let me check. Let me check. Okay. Let me check quick. I must move. Oh, sorry.